listening to Cinema Red Pill. I'm Sharon, here with
Joel,
and we have a new guest, Sarah M.
Yeah.
An artist. I brought her on to get her into the Cinema Red Pill thing by talking about her favorite film, Creed. Favorite film, like in the past few years, maybe? Is that?
I try not to have favorites.
But you have a special thing with Creed.
Yes.
But Sarah, you said
I really do because most of the time having films as favorites, I usually just have a favorite, but I felt like Creed was a film I could have a favorite and be able to kind of like pull apart and explain why it's my favorite. Most of the time I'm like, I like that movie. Why? It's nice. Well, this one, I think I could go a bit more into why it's special to my heart. Yeah.
Okay. And do you want to talk about yourself a bit?
Well, my name is Sarah. Mm-hmm. We all know that. I'm an artist, mostly freelance. I paint. I like to paint. I also am interested in music, and to a kind of lesser or equal extent, I'm also interested in design and costume. Okay. I'm kind of getting into that in a bit. Yeah.
Is there any design and costume in film that you've liked?
I'm actually looking forward to Hela in Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
I really like it.
The character. Wait, you said Hela in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, like
the character Hela.
Yeah, like her costume. The villain.
That's Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm mostly interested in the costumes I like the most are kind of villainesses.
Oh.
They stand out the most for me.
Okay. Okay, what's your relationship with film though? You're a big movie buff?
Yeah, I could say that. I like to watch film because I'm interested in kind of the visual appeal, I like to see how directors go into interpreting mood and emotion in color and through visuals.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, so let's talk about the film. I don't know if I should introduce it. Okay, let me introduce it.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about Creed, the 2015 film, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, and of course Sylvester Stallone. And it's the 7th Rocky film. I'm right, I hope.
Yes.
It's the 7th Rocky film. It came out, it actually got a few Oscar noms, mostly for Sly Stallone. And it did really well, like for a film which is a franchise film, which those films that are like reboots in a way, barely ever do well. And this one had black people, which is cool. And it did well.
Okay.
And it did well, so that's super cool. We're doing this years later with no theme as to why we'd go back to the film just to talk about it. But for anyone who didn't see it, which some people didn't, maybe,
shame on you.
Yeah, I know, it was very popular. It was hard for anyone not to see it when it came out. At least it's a boxing film and people like sports themed films because they're kind of predictable.
Oh,
that's not
why they like sports films.
Okay, I'm not saying it's why they like them, but they're good
like
films for, like, if you're in a group of people. It's very good for a mainstream audience, like sports films, a basketball film, a baseball film, a boxing film, you guys. It's very easy to sell to anyone who doesn't even like movies to watch a film.
Anyone
like
who
that.
likes an underdog story should like a
Actually,
sports film.
You're saying it better.
Yeah.
Underdog film.
Pretty much.
And
all
they are
of them.
always that.
Yes.
See, that's the better way. Is they're a bit predictable.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is good. But anyway, so Creed is about Adonis Johnson. That's Michael B. Jordan's character. It's entirely based on him trying to find his way into the boxing world because he's bothered by his legacy. He has to prove himself since he has his father's name. For a big portion of it, he doesn't want his father's name, but he meets Sly Stallone and asks him to be his coach.
You're not built for this. These boys coming here, they gotta fight for life. People die in the ring. Your daddy died in the ring. I don't know him. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I've been fighting my whole life. It's not a choice for me. Every punch I ever thrown's been on my own. Nobody showed me how to do this. I'm ready.
Now, Sarah, you definitely go first because we are all curious why you really like this film and can't wait to hear. So please take it away.
Okay, so I'd like to say first that I really do not like sports dramas. I hate them with a passion. For one thing, they always have those really predictable cliches. You have, the underdog team. You have locker room sadness.
Yeah.
You have, the motivational speech. It's something you kind of get tired of seeing. So, I was kind of glad when I sat down and watched this movie that, a lot of these cliches weren't, if they, at least if we're not saying that they weren't there, then, they weren't as pronounced as they usually are in other films, in other, like, sports dramas and whatnot. I actually might not have watched this film, but I heard Michael B was in it. So I watched it because, the guy looks nice. So I watched it because the guy looks nice. But yeah, I went in because, I have this, like, supreme crush on Michael B. I was pleasantly surprised. I liked the pacing of the film was really good. I felt like we weren't going too fast or too slow. We're kind of introduced to this kid at the beginning who's, in juvie. He was in juvie, right?
Was in juvie.
He's in juvie. We didn't go into, his life with his mom. He's been with his mom for some time. Then something happens and he's in juvie. And then he's in juvie. And then he moves home with, Mrs. Creed. And then they live for some time. And then he grows up. No. We kind of had that kind of wrapped up in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, it was really, it was fast enough, not too fast. I also feel like as a film, it the acting was, it was steady. I didn't feel like anything was overacted or underacted. Most of the time, I've heard more than once that people complain about Michael B. Jordan's acting, but I think
I do.
I think
in this film.
In this film?
Particular.
Really?
His face, He's not good with facial expressions.
He has like this sulk,
He has a sulk that doesn't seem genuine. You see it acted. You don't feel like this is that dude.
Yep.
He doesn't do it that well to me.
But yeah, the relationships was also something I really appreciate about this. Most of the time, when you're watching films that involve the protagonist's relationships with others, there is like a fear that, or like there's like the chance, or not really the chance, kind of like there's kind of the fear that you're going to have the relationships kind of drown the plot out. I like to sit down and imagine, what if before the match his mom shows up, motivational speech.
They didn't push that angle.
Yeah, they really didn't push that angle. Even his relationship with Bianca, his romantic relationship, I didn't feel like I was drowning in that.
True.
I kind of, the relationship with Rocky was adorable in its own way without being too particularly cheesy and, not overdone. The relationships were good. I also liked, like, my absolute favorite thing about this film was those single shots.
Oh, of course, that was
For
the
the fights.
best thing.
Those were the most beautiful things ever. Magnificent. I did actually, after watching the film, I did look it up, and it was like shot in one take after like a bunch of, choreography and stuff, and that is like super impressive. It's a really magnificently beautiful fight thing, especially since, like in ordinary boxing, I can't.
People
really
do those takes a lot, but the fact that they could pull it off with the boxing match itself was super impressive.
Apparently the guy holding the Steadicam had to learn how to box as well.
Oh, nice.
To be able to film that. So that's super interesting. The soundtracks were great, really well placed.
Which one in particular did you like?
In particular, I don't really get the names of these things, but that particular scene where, he's running with the bikes.
Yes,
that is my favorite. my favorite part of any training montage ever, because like you watch that, at the end of it, I feel like running really far in a hoodie and just punching shit. It's cool. It's cool. You just run, and Michael B. Jordan was being the hype man as usual. He's always the hype man. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
I don't think he can help it. He's a hype man. But anyway, that is also something that stands out for me. I wrote an entire paragraph about him going and shadowboxing in the midst of motorcycles. But I think that was good. I'm going to give you kind of like a little bit of the artistic angle for this,
Okay.
because I don't think I should really say too much. But
You should
artistic
say as
angle,
much as you want.
color use was dope. A lot of people don't. Most of the time, like, you don't notice. It took me a while.
I did not notice it.
Like every time he's in a scene with Bianca, there's a lot of reds and purples.
Okay.
He walks into her apartment and there's a tiny red piano. Or he goes out to eat with her and the entire cafe is red.
Oh.
Or like the first day he meets her, she opens the door. I think she opens the door and like there's like a red light in the background. A lot of the time, we kind of appreciate the movie as a whole, but we don't really see the kind of psychological underbelly that the director goes into. We had a lot of yellows in the gym. That first gym when he the first time he sees Leo fighting in the ring and he goes to sign up for the gym.
Okay.
We've got yellows there, but mostly the movie is blacks and grays.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that, it kind of gives us a chance to look forward to when there is color, and that's usually when he's in the ring fighting, or during a match, or when he's with Bianca. So I felt like capital use of it. So yeah, this is why I love the game.
Okay, you didn't feel strongly about Sylvester Stallone at all?
Well, the last film I watched like Rocky Balboa, and to be honest, his acting in that was not good. It was not good. This was an improvement, definitely. It definitely was. Like, for that, I think I felt I left. I spent like a week after watching Rocky Balboa holding one side of my mouth and talking out of one end, because it felt like really, really plastic and forced, and the script was weak. The script was. Why are you doing that? The script was really weak.
Okay.
Sure. Speak your piece.
The script in Rocky
I will.
Balboa.
Okay, story. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, things I'm looking forward to. I think I should get that out of the way now.
What is
We're looking forward to a sequel.
to the Creed 2 sequel?
Creed, there's a Creed sequel.
Yeah.
it's been confirmed we have the return of Dolph Lundgren's character.
Yeah.
Was he in Balboa?
No, he was in Rocky 4.
Was
And
in
he's
Rocky
the
IV.
one who
He's
killed
yeah.
Creed.
He's a cyborg that killed.
Yeah.
He pretty much beat Apollo Creed to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking
Okay.
forward to that.
Let me go before Joe brings on the
Please.
hate, because
What hate?
he's going to bring on some hate.
Really?
But
No,
first,
you'll be
about the
surprised.
Creed 2, yeah, I'm excited, but very, my expectations are not high, because Ryan Coogler, the director of Creed, is not going to be the director of Creed 2. It's going to be Sylvester Stallone himself, so I think you'll see a lot of Rocky stuff in it. Although Michael B will be back, and then they'll bring on Dolph Lundgren, and I'm guessing they're going to make Dolph Lundgren a coach of someone else, and then bring this whole beef between him and then Creed struggling that he killed his father, his father was not in his life for
What
starters.
if they go back into
So-
the Cold War politics?
Or they could just do, like in Rocky Balboa. How old was Rocky?
It's supposed to be like 50, 60 there.
But like he fought,
And he fought in the
that one.
ring.
He fought in the
They
ring with
should
like
not make
a
Dolph
30-year-old
Lundgren
man.
like-
But Dolph Lundgren looks
He looks okay.
That doesn't make sense
He
that
looks fit.
that they would be against each other. Rocky gave a whole speech and ended the Cold War in Rocky 4. But I can change and you can change. It's a
Are
great
you
speech.
serious?
Yes, he gave a whole speech and the Russians all clapped for him. The president,
That
everyone, and war was over.
Insane.
Best movie ever.
Okay.
Well, that was cold. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, more about Creed itself. Ryan Coogler was I love Ryan Coogler. That's mostly who I'm going to talk about. And his directing, I think, is the only thing that makes this film make any sense. He's completely responsible for the lack of so many cliches. I think the cliches are still there.
They're there, but they're not like.
They're still there. They're just condensed a bit
Yeah.
and not too on the nose or that bad. The one shots are of course cool, like especially the fights in which you already talked about. It's really cool. It really puts you in the ring, which was dope. The one I noticed the second time in my rewatch just on Thursday was there's a long shot when he's going for his last fight, coming from the locker room, him with thingy, and then it's going along with a Tupac song. I'm like, power to him. It was like, but I kept thinking, I like the comparison of how people say that. Imagine Apollo Creed was like Muhammad Ali. So imagine you're Muhammad Ali's son, and then you're trying to get into boxing. That's an analogy that made me think of the whole legacy thing, because this film is heavy on legacy.
Yep.
So if I would think of it in that way, of a boxer that big, maybe in the Rocky world, then this film really made sense with how they were pushing that thing so hard and how he's struggling with it and taking his name and everything. It was, so that worked. I think Tessa Thompson was cool, although not, I don't know, her character arc just was kind of lame for me this time when it wasn't there. There's no really, but she's a good addition because she's great to look at. I think I just like her more than I care for her character, which is really true. Sly Stallone was good. He reminded me of, if anyone watches Better Call Saul, there's a character called Mike Almantrout in it. He reminded me so much of that guy because he's so good. He's such an old guy. You see, he's an old guy, but he still got it. And that's how Sly was for me. I'd forgotten about his cancer from my first watch, so the cancer actually took me by surprise. I think we had an hour left. I'm like, what did they do in this hour? Then when the cancer happened, I'm like, oh, they spent the whole time with the cancer thing. But the cancer thing brought a lot of heart. I wonder how it will affect the second film.
Yeah, no, right?
But it was nice. I liked it. Again, going back, Ryan Coogler is the man, I think. So that's why I think Creed 2 just may not work. And Ryan Coogler, for anyone who doesn't know, is the one directing Black Panther. He has a director-actor duo with Michael B. Jordan. Have you seen Fruitvale Station?
No, I have
You
not.
should see Fruitvale Station.
I will not see it.
You must.
My sensitivities, no, I will not
Oh,
see
you
it.
will cry your eyes out.
Exactly,
But
I will not see it.
you really have to see Fruitvale Station. And that's when I come with Michael B. Jordan's acting. So Michael B. Jordan in Fruitvale Station is he's withdrawn, he's sad. His face is supposed to remain like this. He's kind of sad, but they don't want you to be obviously sad. He's just normal and there. And he's acting so well. In this film, he has to do a lot of rage scenes. And those rage scenes weren't working for me at all. There's so many times where his anger has to get out of control for him, and it felt forced and unnatural for me to see Michael B. Jordan do that. But I think he's befitting of the role. His abs are great to look at, and they really show them to us a lot.
They really are.
Which is dope. But I don't think too highly of him. I see people think very highly of him.
He kind of plays the same character most of the time.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Like it's the same kind of guy. Like even if you know he's rich or poor, he's just the same dude.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. About the soundtrack. The particular soundtrack, I have to play it when I'm editing, by Meek Mill, that Nicki Minaj's person. They have some I don't know much about him, but the soundtrack is so cool.
When did it play?
It plays in your scene, the one you're talking about. It's that
That's
exact
my
one.
favorite. Like it's absolutely perfect.
It's perfect. They play it a lot, bits of it a lot, but they play it a lot during that scene that you like. It's called Lord Knows. It's really, really good. I think I listened to it a bunch after Creed. It stuck with me and got excited to listen to it after this. I think those are the main things that I wanted to say. Yeah. Joel, you can bring on your thoughts, you know?
Yeah, my thoughts.
Please, do.
Well, first of all, going into this film, I was laughing my face off. Because,
Okay.
It's not for what you think. It's because I'd watched Rocky 4. And the way Apollo Creed dies is ridiculous. That entire film is ridiculous. So before the movie came out, the whole time I was wondering, are they going to flash back to the ridiculous way he dies? Like, use it as a motivation for the film? But they dodged around it. I think they used, like, sound bites or something. Do they actually, like, show... They don't show the fight or anything. They don't really get
They
into
don't.
it. Would be ridiculous. You need to actually watch the fight. It would not mesh with anything.
It was sad.
Yeah. It was sad that he died.
It was sad that he died, but it was also sad how he went.
Yeah. He was killed by a Russian cyborg. And when you're trying to do a grounded, realistic film...
Are you saying cyborg, like, real...
I'm serious,
he
was...
had some tech...
No, in terms of he was juiced to the point that he was a cyborg. I don't know how many pounds of pressure
he says like 4 lines in it.
I must break.
If he
It's
dies,
like so awesome.
dies.
If he dies, he dies.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yes, amazing film. So, I was actually anticipating this film. I was actually psyched for it. Yes. Because I'm a big fan of the Rocky films. I've watched them more times than I can count. And there's this cool rivalry stroke friendship between Apollo Creed and Rocky in the older movies.
Yes.
So it was already dope. I liked that it wasn't the predictable, I'm going to have Rocky's son box, which I liked Rocky Balboa because the son just does some other random generic stuff. And so even leading into this, it was dope that Rocky sort of had an heir. It felt like he had an heir he was passing stuff on to. I was into Rocky's story, fully on board. But now Baby Creed shows up.
He doesn't like the
some
name
guy
Baby Creed.
Yes,
got
I know.
punched for something.
Yes, I
Yes.
do. I'm
Baby
saying that on
Creed.
purpose. So, Baby Creed. Michael B. Jordan. She's right. What she said. He has been playing the same character. I don't know if you saw him in The Wire, like the original season when he's a kid.
Wallace, yeah.
He's literally
Still the
playing the
same
same character. He's playing a punk kid trying to look hard. And that's how he comes off. If I'm trying to look intimidating, I'm trying to look pissed.
Yeah, he's trying to look. It looks that way.
And never comes off. So if you wrote a character for him that was that, I think it
That's
translates
why Fruitvale Station
exactly.
works. He's just a punk kid.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Because the whole thing with Fruitvale Station is underneath he's actually just a really sweet guy, right? Yeah, so that worked perfectly. Here, not so much. But I powered through. But the story itself, I didn't get his motivation at all. Because on the one hand, you have... Well, generally they're saying this guy has a chip on his shoulder. Pretty much the whole movie. But on the one hand, you have, my dad's name is a burden, then he has some weird abandonment issues or whatever. He's like an orphan. Having these two things together, running together, just sort of bumps against each other.
I felt like there were two like there are two things. I only agree with only one
Which
of
one?
those things. I agree with having the chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Because he's under this really large Creed shadow. But then I also felt like on the other end he kind of he wants to be a boxer by himself without
the name.
without having to be Creed's kid.
Yeah, but why does he want to box though?
He just likes boxing. They showed
He
it to us
likes-
in the beginning with the
Doesn't
when he was
killing a
in
child.
Mexico.
Exactly. That's not enjoying. That's enjoying killing. Maybe that's not enjoying
Really enjoys it.
boxing.
You see the scene where they show him in the office afterwards when he quits his job.
Yeah.
We really get the picture that boxing is what he wants to do. Joel.
I did not
Yes,
feel that at all.
scene was great. It actually reminded me of Fight Club because we see him boxing, but then the screen just goes back to him
Yeah,
in the
and
office
he's
in
just
a
sitting in a-
suit. Yeah,
He's sitting at
Yes.
his desk and he's just
that is real passion, man.
Yeah, but for him as a character, he did not convey that to me. The actor. No, that's just me. That's
Okay, the
just
actor,
me.
the
Because
actor.
Rocky, like Rocky 1, I'm going to reference Rocky 1,
Okay.
starts where he's fighting underground,
Okay.
some ratchet-looking dungeon-ass place, and he like beats he keeps like taking hits, then he like finally like goes mad on this guy and like knocks him out in seconds. As like he was taking hits for no reason. Then you go outside and this guy is a bum. He's like helping like this small time gang member like beat guys and collect money. And you get this full picture. He goes to the gym, like the trainer pushes him away. It's like, you're a bum. You don't really want to amount to anything. You don't believe in yourself. Like I got his deal. Like he wanted to be somebody, but his whole life they told him he's not going to amount to anything, and he believes that story. And with him, I got that he actually loved boxing, because in spite of being chased away from boxing, he's still fighting underground. I don't quite get why this guy really likes boxing. I could have been sold if they went with the father angle. And with that love sort of being... I don't know why they made him illegitimate, because Creed had a legitimate son.
They had like two legitimate kids.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. But I liked the girlfriend story. That was at least simple enough. What was she? Was she deaf?
Yeah, she was progressive.
Progressive, yeah. That was dope. That was tragic. I completely got the story, and she loved music. Was lost there. Rocky's story again, was on point. The thing with the Rocky, the character, is that he is Sylvester Stallone, and Sylvester Stallone is him. So when he's playing the character, he's just playing himself. And I mean, the original movies, he's supposed to be.
I don't buy that for Rocky
No,
Balboa.
he
for
is.
Rocky Balboa in particular.
For Rocky Balboa, I buy it as well, I think.
These guys are really nailing it with the resemblance.
Yes,
They got like
yes.
Milo Ventimiglia to play his son. Now they have like Michael B playing Carl Weathers' son.
Yes, which is perfect. With the
And that's
mustache,
just-
it's
like
perfect.
it just works.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely nailing it
Do you
on
think they're
casting.
gonna have like a small Dolph?
A mini Dolph
mini
Lundgren.
Dolph.
I hope so. I really want
it will
one.
get cheesy after that.
I want it to be cheesy. The last film he was in with Rocky was cheesy as fuck. So I need to do one.
It was wow.
Anyway, I'm actually looking forward to that now that Dolph is involved. I'm very hyped for that. So yeah, I mean, I know you're saying coming into hate on Creed, but I actually enjoyed the film.
I'm sure I expected worse from you.
No, I mean, I enjoyed the film. I
Okay.
loved the fucking soundtrack. Not as much as her, but I really loved the soundtrack. I was in love for like a week, and I was done. Then she just sort of continued. But it was great, and I wanted it to work, and I actually do want Michael B. Jordan to work.
Speaking of random thought, Africans barely ever do sports dramas.
Yes.
Aren't we into
There's a
sports?
glimpse, yeah. There's this documentary.
Someone write a sports drama.
There's a documentary called Figgy Box.
They showed it at
Yeah, they showed it.
Allianz.
Yeah, it's about like a boxer in Equatorial Guinea, and it's a very powerful film anyway for me. I sort of saw so
It's
many.
a documentary.
Yeah, and so what this dude, his problem was that he was lazy. It wasn't this grand thing of like, oh no, poverty is stopping me. He's talented, but he just keeps getting in his own way. And I thought that was amazing. I would love to see a fiction style thing done like that.
And they tend to do the documentaries a lot. Like the sports guy we had, the runner, there's a doc about him. I'm sure they'll do the doc about the chick who got pregnant. I've forgotten her name.
But the chick that got pregnant.
Yeah.
What's her name? She won a gold medal.
And then got pregnant.
How can you
Dorcas
something?
Oh, Nzikuru.
Yes, Dorcas Nzikuru. Like, I would want a story about a fictional one. A fictionalized one that's over dramatic.
Yes.
That would be great. Sarah, thank you for coming.
It was such a pleasure to be here.
You have to come back.
Most definitely.
Joel,
Yeah.
Joel always will be here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you and bye.
I don't know why they be guessing these suckers before. Cause I am not feeling that shit. Different between me and most of these rappers. I'm talking about work that I really put in. Talking about pistols I put on my hip. And I'm talking about fires I really convert.
You didn't like Mad Max Fury Road?
I love Mad Max Fury Road.
But you
Like, I
preferred
think
Creed.
it's like a gold mine. It's like a gold mine for an artist to talk about. Like, there's so much to talk about there. I would have talked forever.
So Mad Max
I watch it
Big
like once
Creed.
a month.
What?
I pitched reviewing Mad Max versus Snowpiercer.
No.
Whoa.
That would have been interesting.
Ah, that would be nice. I really liked Snowpiercer. They have no bullets.
There's that movie with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Proud Mary.
I have no psych for that. Wait, and that's her name in the film.
Her
Mary.
name is Mary.
But she doesn't call herself Proud Mary in
No,
the
it's
film.
just Mary.
She will probably.
Someone's
tell
good.
her,
Someone's.
What are you?
You're too
some
proud, Mary.
There's an episode of Border Town where like they're driving home and then one of the dudes goes, "Let's go home to our Border Town." And I was like, "Don't say the name of the show." Like,
It always makes me laugh when people say the title of the film. Even when I was watching Lord of the Rings, then they said, "We're the Fellowship of the Ring."